Greetings and salutations. I am Paul, and I am here to speak about the benefits of learning Latin, i.e. the language of the ancient Romans. Now, I think I can guess what most of you are thinking right now. Why should anyone learn a language that is no longer being spoken, or even a dead language? Why not learn something that's actually being spoken today, like French, or Spanish, or Italian? Well, come to think of it, all three of those languages are derived from Latin, and knowing Latin will help you learn any of them, or actually all of them. And there's actually a good reason for this, because the Romans conquered big swaths of Europe, and as anyone who knows about historical linguistics can tell you, when a group of invaders conquers a land of indigenous people speaking a different language, often the conquered people adopt the language of the conquerors. And this is really what happened when the Romans conquered Western Europe. The Gauls and the Hispanic peoples took Latin as their native language over time. So pretty much all of Europe, or all of Western Europe, that is, had language as their main language, and even to this day, French and Spanish and Italian are largely derived from Latin, and for that reason are considered Romance languages, after the Romans, not after anything else you might be thinking of. However, this was largely due to the proximity of France and Spain to the Italian peninsula, which helped the Romans to spread their influence to a greater degree. And even though they conquered England, they didn't manage to impose the Latin language on the English, for which reason English is not a Romance language as are French and Spanish and Italian. Nevertheless, English does owe a great deal to Latin, as evident to those of you who've been paying attention to the captions. Even if you never speak a word of Latin, just knowing the language will improve your English vocabulary. In general, if you see a big English word that has one of these suffixes, or endings, it's probably derived from Latin. Of course, the pronunciation is different. The Latin words in the captions, or captiones, aren't pronounced the way you think. Even in the Romance languages themselves, there are all sorts of different pronunciation rules. If you know how to pronounce an Italian word, you probably won't really know how to pronounce its Spanish equivalent. Languages do change over time, which is why it's not Latin anymore that's being spoken in Europe, it's these Romance languages. And one reason why, for Latin's unfortunate reputation as a dead language, is that it has not mutated, it has remained stagnant over the millennia. And sadly, interest in languages that are not commonly spoken is not as strong as it should be, but on the other hand, Latin is not yet dead. If it were, then you probably, these phrases probably wouldn't mean anything at all. For example, e pluribus unum, annuit coeptis, novus ordo seclorum, regnat populus, ad astra per aspera, semper fidelis, et cetera, also known as etc. Deo gratiam habeamus, habeas corpus, or habeas corpus. Ipso facto, de facto. Tempus fugit, In fact, I ought to finish this video before it becomes too tedious for all of you guys. I hope you found it sufficiently educational and entertaining. Valete!